Steep is the way to mastery. You gotta 𝗥𝗣𝗣𝗦 for some type of mastery, spiritual mastery. You gotta fight, you gotta work on your nut. Physical, the rip right body type, not an easy thing. Financial mastery, mastering anything. It takes time and it takes a little bit of uncomfortability. It's gonna get hot, but that's how you grow and that's how you expand. That's my initial message.
What would you say is the biggest difference between Philly and NYC?
There are a lot of similarities. How many Muslims in New York City? Tons. But sometimes I go for
days and not see a throw.
Or 𝗪𝗏🗡😅. Philly, when you cross that bridge, you're gonna see a Muslim.
As a Muslim growing up in Philly, difficult it is to stay out the streets.
I give the average person 2 out of 10 chances of survival. It's hard.
The reality of living in the West and living in the Islamic country.
So people, and rightfully so, they romanticize overseas. They think overseas is a utopia. Everything's perfect, everybody's in the sun. And when you get there, first week I was in Medina, we was in a library, in an apartment, they playing Nelly. Medina. Blessed. It's getting out of here. 2002. Just because you're there doesn't mean that everything is perfect. Certain things better? Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Are certain things better here?
Without a doubt.
You gotta find enlightenment where you are. But that doesn't mean that you don't make hijrah.
باب مفتوح للاجتهادات التقريب هذا حد العالم هذا طالب هذا راسخ والى اخره تحت
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh to all the Hadith disciples, YouTubers and viewers. Welcome back to a new video on Rip-Right HD. So we out here in New York and we're going to be speaking to Muhammad ibn Munir, also known as Mufti, the knowledge assassin, may Allah bless him, Ameen. And my brother El Amin, and we out here with a couple of the brothers, so we want to kind of speak about, because Mufti was born and raised in Philly, and then obviously he's been to different countries, Yemen and then Saudi, so he had a chance to kind of like travel and live in different places, so we just kind of want to get his perspective, as well as El Amin, born a Muslim, on how it is to be a Muslim in certain places. We're not going to be able to complete everything. We got stuff going on. So introduce yourself, my brother.
Sorry, well, like you said, I'm your brother in Islam. Inshallah, nothing more and hopefully nothing less. Muhammad ibn Munir. I got different names. People know me as different titles, aliases. We ain't got to get into all of that right now.
Allahu Akbar.
What's important is right here. Steep is the way to mastery.
Subhanallah.
And that's a double wordplay. Steep meaning like on an incline, a rise, you gotta keep walking, you gotta 𝗥𝗣𝗣𝗦 for some type of mastery, spiritual mastery. You gotta fight, you gotta work on your nuts. The physical, the rip right body type, it's not an easy thing. Financial mastery, mastering anything. And also steeping a tea bag or steeping tea leaves. The hot water, the heat, you gotta extract, exactly. We know what we into the wordplay. Philly, Brooklyn, Queens. We into the spoken word. You know, the poets. That's a chapter in the Quran, right? So steeping the tea, brewing the tea. It takes time and it takes a little bit of uncomfortability. It's gonna get hot, but that's how you grow and that's how you expand. So I mean, you know, that's my initial message. With regards to my names, titles, what people know me as, friend or foe, lover or hater, undercover, whatever the case may be.
So now, what would you say is the biggest difference, right, between Philly and NYC, like as a Muslim, as a 9-to-5 Muslim, just your average Joe?
Understood. Well, I mean, there are a lot of similarities. There are a lot of parallels. Many things are the same. But if you want to like a real like answer, the abundance of Muslims and the ratio of some type of Islamic identity and being able to see Muslims. What type of Muslims isn't that? You get the point I'm trying to make. You see what I'm saying to you? So how many Muslims in New York City? Tons. But sometimes I go for
days and not see a throw.
Yeah, or 𝗪𝗏🗡😅. Philly, and I ain't saying Philly's absolutely better. We're just, you know, talking. The moment you cross that bridge, whether it's the Walt Whitman, Ben Franklin, Betsy Ross, Tacony, whatever, you coming from New Jersey, you come from up north, you're gonna see a Muslim. Whether it's a beggar on the street, a drug dealer, or whatever walk of life, it's gonna be some type of Islamic vibrance. So I think this is one of the main differences. Another difference, and Allah surely knows best, I think that in Philly, you have more indigenous Muslims that went and studied. New York, you got brothers who went and studied.
But not as much.
And more people from other countries, West Africa, Palestine, Yemen. But in Philly, you have more, I would say, homegrown people that actually got it.
So question. Now, as a Muslim growing up in Philly, how difficult it is, you think, to kind of like stay out the streets and stay out that
Man,
life?
I give the average person 2 out of 10 chances of survival. It's hard. And I think the most difficult thing of staying out the streets is not being corny. The fear of not being corny. Okay, if you're righteous, you go to work, you earn your living, you stay away from haram stuff, you're not chasing, chicks, whatever, you corny, you're square. And the average person folds under that pressure of being a cornball, of being looked down upon as being a nerd or a geek or, a square person. Getting good grades, being successful is corny. You live a boring life. So people, they don't want to get involved in the streets. They know the streets is haram, but the peer pressure, let alone the romance that's found in that lifestyle. So a person, I'm talking about rapping, right? He starts off as, my mom ain't have money. I had to feed my family. But what you're doing right now is not feeding your family. That's luxury. This car, the ice, this and that, that's not feeding your family. That's extravagant lifestyle, but that's the dunya. It sucks you in. The shaitan, he whispers to you quickly, next thing you know, your soul is his. So that's what happens in the streets. Peer pressure, bad company, and people just being afraid of being who they are. Be yourself, man. If you like doing this, bismillah, what's the problem? You ain't gotta fit in. You know what I'm saying? Because the real thing about it is that a real tough guy, if you actually with him and you travel with him, you see he has his little hobbies. He has his little perks. The stuff that nobody know that he's into. He does this, he plays this game, but the people in the streets, they don't know about that. But you can't even be yourself trying to follow somebody else's shadow, somebody else's footsteps.
So now that 2 out of 10 chances, right? We know that Allah is with,
if that, it may be less than that.
Maybe less than that. What gave you that? What put you in that 2%?
Well, I think one of the things Allah blessed me with parents giving me strength of character. My mother and my father, directly and indirectly. My mother always telling me, don't be a follower. Don't take no what? Don't take no nothing from nobody. We can't say it on the video, but she said those words. Don't take no bleep from nobody.
Allah.
No in eyes. All right? That's a profound statement. Don't take no batil from anybody who's bringing it. Black, white, Chinese, Arab, don't accept batil. Be who you are. Be yourself. I named you Muhammad. My father would always, he would give me different things to think critically.
And this is gonna be a little bit. So now, a lot of people, like, in the comments, they're talking about old black. They're talking about dudes, accepting Islam, still listening to music. So now, I want to move my family to a Muslim country. Can you kind of give the reality of living in the West and living in the Islamic country, the pros and the cons? Like, just a quick spell.
Well, I mean, in general, romance is dangerous. As they said, love's gonna what? Love's gonna get you. That's a real statement. So people, and rightfully so, they romanticize overseas. They think overseas is a utopia. Everything's perfect. Everybody's in the sunnah. And when you get there, I remember that when I was in Medina, the first week I was in Medina, we was in a library in an apartment. They playing Nelly. It's getting hot in here.
Subhanallah.
Medina. This is back Medina, the city of the Prophet ﷺ. It's getting hot in here. I'm like, what the heck? And that's Medina.
Shocked you.
That's Medina, 2002.
Reality
so just because you're there doesn't mean that everything is perfect. Are certain things better? Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Are certain things better here?
Without a doubt.
All right, so I'm a big believer, and you got to find enlightenment where you are. But that doesn't mean that you don't make hijrah.
Get all the knowledge from the scholars where you at and then move on.
Yeah, so you got to be able to maneuver. It's all about you. It's all about your mindset. It's all about how much tawfiq Allah gives you. But don't think, as the Salaf would say, أَنَّ الْأَرْض لَا تُقَدِّسُ أَحَدًا. They will write to each other and say the earth doesn't holify anybody. Just because you're in Sham or Iraq or Medina don't mean that your deeds is what? It's holy. So it's about your mindset. Your environment does play a big role in everything.
And we're going to cut him short because he got a dip. He got an important Zoom. But we love our brother. We want to keep him with us. To be continued. We're going to turn it over to the body type. We're going to keep it over to 𝗪cie𝗿𝗏𝗦. Barakallah.
Please forgive me, guys.
Nah, don't worry. Yes.
Don't forget though. Don't take what? That's a rule.
That's a rule.
All the way to the bottom.
Okay. I appreciate you. Yo, the break's over. Alright, so we got my boy 𝗪cie here.
Indeed, in the body, literal translation is a lump of flesh, a piece of meat. إِذَا صَلَحَتْ صَلَحَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ. And when that lump of flesh